Okay, now we're going. And we're live again. Hello, everyone. Persephone Chromancy here. Terribly sorry for that glitch. We were having technical difficulties, but as I'm always saying, it wouldn't be a Persephone live stream if something did not go wrong. So, it's kind of a thing on this show. That's what we do around here. Just posting the notification to let people come. So that way they can come if they want to hear the story. So, again, I'm terribly sorry for the technical difficulties. They always seem to happen. Take 2, electric boogaloo, here! I'm here! Yay! Hi guys, welcome! So I just posted the notification that's like, hey, I'm live streaming, so I'm just gonna take 2 on the whole commentary here. Hi Wolfer, welcome. So, yeah, it's 2 days after Valentine's Day, so you know what that means. All the chocolates on sale, which is usually the Valentine's Day for people who are single, which, again, I mentioned it before, you don't need to have a partner to celebrate Valentine's Day. I mean, I celebrated single, and my Valentine's for my family was, I got them all, like, bits of food from where I work. I got my mom some red velvet cupcakes, youngest brother some lemon cupcakes, a thing of French bread for one brother, and then I got some smoked oysters for my dad, because I know they like those things. But yeah, you don't need a partner. And for myself, well, I got myself a bouquet of chocolate-covered strawberries, so, you know. But yeah, there's more than just the love that a couple can have for one another. I mentioned 3 of the words that the Greeks used for love, which of course was eros, the intimate sexual love between couples. There's philia, the intimate friendship love, the brotherly love. Again, a good example of that would be Frodo and Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. And then I mentioned agape, which is the all-encompassing universal love. An example of this would be God's love. Again, I'm a believer, but I have always thought that agape is a good example of God's love. And then, of course, there's ludus, which I mentioned in the first take, which was a playful love, sometimes tied into eros and sometimes tied into or associated with philia. There is storge, which is the love of family. Got my music going. You know my long-distance Valentine, the Green Goblin. Hey, I don't judge, and I'm happy you're able to find someone. And then there's another type of, I think it's pragmata, which is an all-enduring love, which I think everyone should have that love that is tough as nails till death do us part, literally. My parents are a good example of that love, all-enduring, even when it's hard, good and the bad. They have that kind of love. They've been together for a very long time. And then there's mania. And as I said before, mania is rather dangerous because, well, it's obsessive and possessive love, wanting ownership or control of the love interest, which is very unhealthy. Like, you two are your own persons, but you're in love, but you should not try and control the other one. That being said, you cannot control the other person, but you can control yourselves, and you should actively choose to remain faithful, ideally. It's probably gonna lose subscribers again for saying that, but you know what? I'm sorry. I have no filter. And anyway, but yeah, mania is not a good idea, but a good example of mania would be the yandere character, which again, I like that trope. It's definitely tied into horror, but I mean, yeah, again, different between fiction and reality. Writing yandere fanfic, reading it is okay, but you don't imitate it in real life, because that kind of stuff is dangerous, unhealthy, and it will get you in trouble. Toga Himiko is an example. I don't know who that character is, but yeah. I can agree with Matt Newcomb. So yeah, why am I mentioning love and mania? Well, it's because we're going back to the brothers Grimm, and we're going to be reading their story of the Robber Bridegroom. Now, the Robber Bridegroom is one of my favorite stories, and a fun fact: I did not read the story. I read an adaptation of the story. I read a take done by Adam Gidwitz in his book A Tale Dark and Grim. I've mentioned him a lot on the show. I love his work dearly. I have the trilogy of this in my library, and his take of the Robber Bridegroom is exactly on page 83. A smile as red as blood. You could go from JoJo's the first yen that I featured in manga and anime. I know you could go for vaguely because I watch clips of JoJo and I'm still watching. I actually started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm on episode 7 of season 1. So yeah, after the song, I promise, cross my heart, we'll read the story. But yeah, she was a girl who tried to kill a guy she was sleeping with out of obsession. Yeah, that's what I mean by not imitating what you see in fiction with reality, because yeah, that is not healthy. I mean, if for example, if I were married and I had slept with my husband, I would never take a knife and decide to commit the murder. I would never do that, because I am of the belief that, if you're in a marriage, then it is like no turning back, ride or die. We will make this work one way or another. I want to have a marriage like my parents, which again, despite everything, because it hasn't been all roses and sunshine for them. They've had to raise 3 kids, and if I had a nickel for the arguments they've had, but they still love each other very much. So yeah, again, another good example of, if it's in fiction or you're writing about it, it's fine. But when you start bringing it into reality, then it's a problem. So yeah. But the Robber Bridegroom is a fairy tale that is an excellent example of the phrase, every beautiful flower has its thorns, and the same thing can be associated with love and romance and trying to find a partner. I made a joke about the astronaut who tried to kill her love object's wife, unrequited loves. Oh my goodness. But yeah, and that is love. Love isn't all chocolates and roses. It's hard, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Case in point with me, with my first relationship that I was in, I was 21, so I was young, but I was also extremely naive because I thought a lot of things. I thought he and I would get married. I thought he was my one true love. And then, well, that didn't blow up in my face, and I didn't feel the thorns until I got stuck with them twice. So yeah, love can sometimes hurt, like when you're trying to find someone, because again, heartbreak. Love requires hard choices and sacrifice. Exactly, Wolfer. Beautifully said. And I suppose I dodged a bullet. At the end of the day, with that relationship with my ex, I dodged a bullet, and I haven't given up on love. And I hope that I will find someone eventually, and when that does happen, and it will happen when it happens, I will strive to be a good, loving partner. And as I mentioned before, yeah, every flower has its thorns, and sometimes you don't know until you get stuck with them. And yeah, that is the case sometimes, because when you are all blushy with the butterflies in your stomachs of falling in love again, and you get all Twitter-pated, you tend to just see the beautiful flower. Then again, you don't know that it has thorns until you get yourself stuck with them. And I just even finished reading a story that was quite symbolic of that, though it kind of ends bitterly, because I just recently got a copy of The Happy Prince and Other Tales. There's no partner that's worth putting up with abuse or infidelity. Exactly. But yeah, I read a story similar to that called The Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. You may recognize him from his story, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I have arrived. Ghost, welcome. Hi. This is the first live stream you've ever been on. So yeah, hi. For those who don't know, Ghost God is a friend of mine. He and I think we met on Melanie Mac's server. I'm pretty sure we did, but yeah, hi, welcome. Sorry. So yeah, welcome to the live stream. This is what goes on. But yeah, love is never easy. And to be fair though, nothing that is worth wanting, something that, like, if you aren't willing to work hard for it, then like I don't know, because love's not easy. It sometimes hurts and it also requires effort. But yeah, okay, so I said after the last song I'd read the story, but yeah, I promise after this one I will read the story, and I will go over the story of A Tale Dark and Grim, Smile as Rose Blood. I will go deeper into that after the first story. So yeah, if you have any questions for me about the story, or you just want to start a conversation, like, don't be shy to ask questions. I don't need to know how you met me. Well, too late. I already told them, and I mentioned it before. I don't have a filter. I talk a lot. I'm sorry. So, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's kind of late for that. I'm sorry, it happened, but yeah. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, is that in a game? Is what in a game? Now, I know some of you are thinking it's like Persephone. You've been reading us a lot of Brothers Grimm's fairy tales. I thought you were going to read us, like, what about the mythology and folklore and stories like that? Well, I am getting to that. In fact, I have some new fairy tale books. The Happy Prince and the House of Pomegranates being one of them. I even got a story of some Scottish folk tales. So I will be giving you variety, I promise. It's just some of the stories that I've been reading to you from Grimm I found to be quite fitting for the situation. Oh, you said that you two met on a server. Oh, and a Discord server, Wolfer. A Discord server. But yeah. So there will be variety. In fact, I might break out one of the colored fairy books. What about the novelization of King Kong? So much juicy monster lore! I have not read King Kong, so page 47. So here's the Robber Bridegroom, and again, I will go into more detail of the Smile Red as Blood after the story, so yeah. Oh, I see, yep. I have a few servers Discord servers that I'm in that are interesting, so so okay, the Robber Bridegroom. This one's very short, so bear with me. The Robber Bridegroom. There was once on a time a miller who had a beautiful daughter, and as she was grown up, he wished that she was provided for, and well married, he thought. If any good suitor comes and asks for her, I will give her to him. Not long afterwards, a suitor came, who appeared to be very rich, and as the miller had no fault to find with him, he promised his daughter to him. The maiden, however, did not like him quite so much as a girl should like the man to whom she is engaged, and had no confidence in him. Whenever she saw or thought of him, she felt a secret horror. Once he said to her, "Thou art my betrothed, and yet thou hast never once paid me a visit." The maiden replied, "I know not where thy house is." Then said the bridegroom, "My house is out there in the dark forest." She tried to excuse herself, and said she could not find the way there. The bridegroom said, "Next Sunday thou must come out there to me. I have already invited the guests, and I will strew ashes in order that thou mayst find thy way through the forest." A Miller? Miller Lite? We drinking again on stream? You're not wrong, because I do have a little glass of white Zinfandel. I even got a little... So, and technically, it is fitting. It is fitting that I have some wine that I'm sipping on this stream. It's very fitting, and you'll see in a minute. So, method to my madness. The girl? He's short. Ew. Woo! Matt Newcomb just being so hyper, like, yeah! yeah. Girl, you short. Ew. No. This guy is described to be very rich, and as the miller had no fault to find with him, so I'm pretty sure this guy is tall, dark, and handsome. And also, looking like he appears to be really rich, so basically fine clothes. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I think. That's what always came to mind whenever I read this book, because you get images in your head whenever you read, usually. So that's what I always depicted: tall, dark, and handsome. Anyway, so he's going to strew some ashes in order that she may find her way through the forest to come see him. He's overly privileged. Ew. I wouldn't word it like that, Matt. You'll see. He's not overly privileged. Yeah. Alrighty. When Sunday came and the maiden had set out on her way, she became very uneasy. She herself knew not exactly why, and to mark her way, she filled both her pockets full of peas and lentils. Ashes were strewn at the entrance of the forest, and these she followed, but at every step she threw a couple of peas on the ground. She walked almost the whole day until she reached the middle of the forest, where it was the darkest, and there stood a solitary house, which she did not like, for it looked so dark and dismal. She went inside it, but no one was within, and the most absolute stillness reigned. Suddenly, a voice cried, turn back, young maiden dear! 'Tis a murderer's house you enter here." The maiden looked up, and saw that the voice came from a bird, who was hanging in a cage on the wall. Again it cried, turn back, maiden dear! 'Tis a murderer's house you enter here." Then the young maiden went on farther, from one room to another, and walked through the whole house, but it was entirely empty, and not one human being was to be found. Darker tanned skin would have been seen as a mark of the working poor. He would be more preferable if he was tall, pale, and handsome. Well, I mean, dark can also mean, hair color. And who's to say this guy doesn't have pitch black hair? So he could definitely be fair skinned. So yeah. Still though. Anyway, but you do got a point, Wolfer. Back when this was written. So not a single human being was to be found. At last she came to the cellar, and there sat an extremely aged woman, whose head shook constantly. "Can you not tell me," said the maiden, "if my betrothed lives here?" "Alas, poor child," replied the woman, "whither hast thou come? Thou art in a murderer's den. Thou thinkest thou art a bride soon to be married, but thou wilt keep thy wedding with death. Look, I have been forced to put a great kettle on here with water in it. When they have thee in their power, they will cut thee to pieces without mercy, will cook thee and eat thee, for they are eaters of human flesh. If I do not have compassion on thee and save thee, thou art lost." A rhyming bird means danger! Norman Bates' mom. I don't know who Norman Bates is, but yeah, Matt Newcomb being like, he's overprivileged. Ew, holy crap, you're right. Okay, judging by that, I'm going to assume that Norman Bates was also a eater of human flesh. So, cannibalism. That's always fun. Eek. The killer from Psycho. Okay, so now I get it. I don't watch a lot of horror films. I'm very picky about the horror I watch, but now I get it. Thereupon the old woman led her behind a great hogshead, where she could not be seen. "Be still as a mouse," said she. "Do not make a sound or move, or all will be over with thee. At night, when the robbers are asleep, we will escape. I have long waited for an opportunity." Psycho is a classic. Classic it may be. I'm very picky about the horror I watch. I like there to be substance and story behind it. Okay, hopefully I don't sneeze. I don't want to sneeze. Anyway. Hardly was this done than the godless crew came home. They dragged with them another young girl. They were drunk and paid no heed to her screams and lamentations. They gave her wine to drink, 3 glasses full. 1 glass of white, 1 glass of red, and a glass of yellow, and with this her heart burst in twain, which, to burst in twain, basically her heart broke. Question: what does a cannibal do after he dumps his girlfriend? I'm just going to assume that he eats her. Like it's a reverse Black Widow moment, because Black Widow spiders will eat their mate, just like a lot of female spiders actually do proceed in mate cannibalism after the male spider breeds with them. In fact, some spiders have... I'm not going to answer the A, but oh my gosh. 3 glasses of wine? Uh-oh, she's going to Plinkety Town! No, her heart just bursts in twain, which means it literally breaks in half. Which, fun fact, it is possible to die of a broken heart. Apparently, we have these very tiny, tiny threads in our heart that are sensitive to emotional duress. So it is literally, and they can... Sorry, bad joke. Yeah, that kind of was... I'm sorry, but like... I try to have some sense of decorum on this channel. Oh my goodness. Anyway, but it is possible to die from a broken heart when those little strands on our heart are given a heavy emotional duress, which I suppose is why it hurts so much when you have your first heartbreak, because it hurts. Anyway, so her heart broke in twain. Thereupon they tore off her delicate raiment, laid her on the table, cut her beautiful body in pieces, and strewed salt thereon. Cardiac distress. Yeah, essentially. Who's to say Plinkety Town can't lead to death? I mean, in this case, it just did. I literally read it. Like, the moment they finished giving her the 3 glasses of wine, her heart breaks. They tear off her clothes, throw her on the table, cut her to pieces, and then they sprinkle salt all over the pieces. I just said that. Yeah. 2 days after Valentine's Day. Perfect time for some cannibalism. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so the poor bride sat behind the cask, trembled, and shook, for she saw right well what fate the robbers had destined for her. One of them noticed a gold ring on the little finger of the murdered girl, and as it would not come off at once, he took an axe and cut the finger off, but it sprang up in the air, away over the cask, and fell straight into the bride's bosom. Bosom, for those who do not know, is another way of saying the chest. So basically, he cuts off the finger, it flies all the way over the cask, and lands square on her chest. I'm just going to assume that this bride is kind of well endowed. Oh boy. Jiminy Crickets. Yep. Okay, so it lands on her bosom. The bride's bosom, okay. Sheesh. Yeah, really, Ghost. It's Grimm's fairy tales. They do all sorts of stuff like that. Grimm's are very bloody. Anyway. The robber took a candle and wanted to look for it, but could not find it. Then another of them said, "Hast thou looked behind the great hogshead?" But the old woman cried, "Come and get something to eat and leave off looking till the morning. The finger won't run away from you." Then the robbers said, "The old woman is right," and gave up their search, and sat down to eat. And the old woman poured a sleeping draught in their wine, and that they soon lay down in the cellar, and slept and snored. So while they're eating, the old woman slips a bit of a sleeping potion into their drinks. It must be odorless and tasteless, because they drink up their wine and then they're on the cellar floor sleeping and snoring. Pretty potent sleeping draught you got there. Ma'am, may I have the recipe for it? Just kidding, I don't need a sleeping draught to sleep soundly. I usually sleep like a baby kitten. So, Anyway, when the bride heard that, she came out from behind the hogshead, and had to step over the sleepers, for they lay in rows on the ground, and great was her terror lest she should awaken one of them. But God helped her, and she got safely over. The old woman went up with her, opened the doors, and they hurried out of the murderer's den with all the speed in their power. The wind had blown away the strewn ashes, but the peas and lentils had sprouted and grown up, and showed them the way in the moonlight. They walked the whole night until in the morning they arrived at the mill, and then the maiden told her father everything exactly as it had happened. Or the wine was very strong. Why not both, Wolfer? Why not both? Strong wine, sleeping potion. Just double the sleeping power. So, when the day came, when the wedding was to be celebrated, the bridegroom appeared, and the miller had invited all his relations and friends. Relations being family. So all the friends and family are invited to this wedding. I could make a reference to a Billy Idol song, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna I'm gonna control myself. As they sat at the table, each was bidden to relate something. The bride sat still and said nothing. To relate something, basically to talk and tell stories. That's what it means. So the bride sits and she says nothing. Then said the bridegroom to the bride, "Come, my darling, dost thou know nothing? Relate something to us like the rest." At least they rested in peace. But oh my goodness. Ghost, my goodness. You just had to use the drum emoji. My goodness gracious. My goodness. Well, hey little sister, what have you done? Well, we'll forgot the reference that I made. We'll forgot the reference, so yeah, points to Wolfer. Hi, Drusai Hashida. Welcome to the live stream. Your voice is really nice. Well, thank you. Wolfer and quite a few people on here have called it my storytelling voice, which I tell a lot of stories on here, so welcome. It's a nice day to start again. You forgot to put, Wolfer, that it's a nice day for a white wedding. Fun fact, I don't know when CM, I don't know what that means, but yeah, I don't know if wedding dresses were white back when this was written. I don't know. They might have been, I don't know. So she replied, "Then I will relate a dream. I was walking alone through a wood, and at last I came to a house in which no living soul was. But on the wall there was a bird in a cage which cried, 'Turn back, young maiden dear, 'tis a murderer's house you enter here.' And this it cried once more, 'My darling, I only dreamt this.' Then I went through all the rooms, and they were all empty, and there was something so horrible about them. At last I went down into the cellar, and there sat a very old woman whose head shook. I asked her, 'Does my bridegroom live in this house?' She answered, 'Alas, poor child, thou hast got into a murderer's den. Thy bridegroom does live here, but he will hew thee in pieces and kill thee, and then he will cook thee and eat thee. My darling, I only dreamt this.'" It's a nice day for a white wedding. Exactly, Wolfer. Okay, so I totally dreamt this. But the old woman hid me behind a great hogshead, and scarcely was I hidden when the robbers came home, dragging a maiden with them, to whom they gave 3 kinds of wine to drink, white, red, and yellow, with which her heart broke in twain. My darling, I only dreamt this. Thereupon they pulled off her pretty clothes and hewed her fair body in pieces on a table and sprinkled them with salt. My darling, I only dreamt this. And one of the robbers saw that there was a ring on her little finger, and as it was hard to draw off, he took an axe and cut it off, but the finger sprang up in the air and sprang behind the great hogshead and fell in my bosom. And there is the finger with this ring. And with these words she drew it forth and showed it to those present. The robber, who had during the story become as pale as ashes, leapt up and wanted to escape, but the guests held him fast and delivered him over to justice. Then he and his whole troop were executed for their infamous deeds. Fun fact, Billy Idol wrote the song saying that it was a love song for an incubus. I did not know that. That is very interesting. And this book does have illustrations, but this is the only illustration for the Robber Bridegroom. It is the maiden and the old woman running away from the house. So yeah, that is the end of the Robber's Bridegroom. And as you can see, it's a happy ending for everyone. 1. The bridegroom gets killed. So, kind of reminds me of you're walking through the woods, there's no one around, and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him, Shia LaBeouf. I don't know the joke behind that. I'm terribly sorry. It's just kind of the way of it. But yeah, that was a story of the happy ending for everyone except the robber. Yeah, except the robber and his cronies. They were turned over to justice. Now, I mentioned before that Adam Gidwitz, one of my favorite authors, took the story of the Robber Bridegroom and gave it its own twist. Which is page 83, A Smile as Red as Blood. Hooray for happy endings! Yes, happy endings! All nice and bloody. It's fitting. Seems to be a little bit inspired by the Sonny Bean. Sonny Bean? What, is that another fairy tale? I haven't read it. So yes, page 83. It's been a long time since I've read this. I gotta read it again. Sorry. Let's see. So, yeah, in Tale Dark as Grimm, it is Gretel who falls in love with this young man who has, and I quote, I just gotta find it. Let's see. Time to start the hiccup count. No hiccup counts. You don't need to count my hiccups. Actually, I have to write that down. That's actually kind of creative. A family or band of cannibals who lived in Scotland in the 16th century. Oh. Well, now that is interesting. I may have to look that up more when I get the chance. So yeah, in this book, Gretel, she is separated from her brother Hansel. And page 83 follows her story, and she finds that there's a particular grown-up whom she likes listening to. He is described as a young man, cheerful and kind, and very handsome, with long black hair and green eyes flecked with gold that seem to dance in the light. And of course, he has a smile as red as blood. And everyone, Sol Invictus wrote a song about them. Huh. Maybe I have to look that up. Here we go. Now let's see. But yeah, so the man is described like that, but he isn't just an eater of human flesh. And like in the original story, he invites her to his home, and she finds, she finds not just one bird in a cage, but she finds several doves in cages, which I find that to be a wonderful depiction of the soul that Adam Gidwitz uses. The soul being a dove, being a creature seen of purity and peace, and of course white being symbolism of purity, innocence, and I believe virtue. I'll have to research more on what certain colors mean. But you know what I mean. And they're telling her the same thing. It's like, turn back. It's like, go home, little girl, go home. To a murderer's house you come. And then eventually she finds an old woman. She finds an old woman, and the old woman's Gretel says, well, it's like I'm looking for my friend, and she's like, does your friend have long black hair, green eyes that dance with flecks of gold and lips red as blood? And then Gretel nodding, the woman says, then my dear, you have befriended your death. To befriend your own death. It's interesting. I don't know. I hope that my death is peaceful. More of the story, listen to magical talking birds. And also things aren't always what they seem. So yes. Not only is this guy an eater of flesh, rather than being a robber, he is evil. An evil magician, a warlock. He invites girls into his house. He reaches down their throats and rips their souls from their bodies, and he traps the souls in cages as a form of doves and lets them rot under his eaves. Then he hacks the girls' bodies into pieces to make our supper. And so the story follows through, and like in the Robber's Bridegroom story, we see the warlock basically throw girl into a cupboard, rape her soul out, and proceed to eat her. And the ring is actually really pretty. It is described as a lovely golden ring inlaid with rubies, red as rubies can bring. And again, this is an adaptation, but I find it to be extremely fascinating. I love the way Adam Gidwitz writes. He's a writing genius. He's one of my favorites. So she describes the dream. It goes word for word, and then she reveals the ring. The young man who had been panicking and freaking out, chewing on his nails, he leaps up and begins to chant the words of a dark curse, but before he can finish, someone comes up behind him and knocks him unconscious with a tray of sausages, and then oil was prepared, and then a villager sent to find poisonous snakes. And to quote Adam Gidwitz, I guess that his favorite dessert was ladyfingers? I mean, he can't get the ring off, so he cuts it off, and it goes. And so apparently, only if the lady finger in question doesn't have jewelry on it. So I guess this finger would be saved if I ever got caught by him. This finger would be saved. But then again, this ring, my dear viewers, comes off really easy. So he'd probably take it and pawn it off or something. I don't know. It's a mood ring. I got it when I was visiting my ex. I mean, I like wearing it. I like things that are weird and things that are associated with fantasy. I mean, look at my bedroom. It's a burst of personality. Sausage saves the day! Yep. Nice, fine, roasted sausage over the fire. Yummy sausage. Makes me hungry. Okay, so yeah. So tries to chant a curse, knocked unconscious via a tray of sausages, and then oils prepared and a villager sent to find poisonous snakes. And to quote Adam Gidwitz, because in this book and in the other two books, he does add some commentary, which I think is very funny and clever, and I love it. It's just amazing. So he says, and I quote, because the best way to kill a warlock is to cook him with poisonous snakes in a cauldron of boiling oil. Obviously. So yeah, that is Adam Gidwitz's take on the Robber Bridegroom. He got a bratwurst beat down. That's clever. Oh my gosh, bratwurst. I've actually had bratwurst. It's really good. Hot dogs win in the end. Fun fact: I actually only like the hot dogs that you can buy in a 3-pack at Costco. Those are the only ones I like. Snake and Warlock rock! Yes. Would love for you to talk more and listen to your beautiful stories. Well, thank you, Brusai Haishida. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. But yeah, I have a lot of ASMR, so you can hear my voice on those because I do Monster Girl ASMRs, and then I read these stories. But technically, they're not mine. They are Grimm's. I got some folk tales. I got mythology. I got a bunch of books. I have a full library, as you can see right here. I am working on my own book, though, and I'm almost done with it. It is called Tales by the Fire, and it is going to be a collection of fairy tales. 2 of them are going to be adaptations, like my take on some stories, but then the other 6 are full-on originals. Originals by me that came straight out of this head. So I'm almost done. I'm so close. I can't believe that I'm almost done finishing my first book, because I have written stories before, but I've never gotten around to finishing them. So the fact that I am so close to getting this story finished, edited, and published is gonna be it's gonna be surprising. We're la class to linguica. I don't know what that word is, but yeah. We're la class to linguica. I'm going to assume that's a type of food, preferably a sausage type. But yeah, I have had bratwurst before. It's really yummy. Also had German beer before. Also good. The Germans and the Belgians know how to make beer. Linguiça is Portuguese sausage. So yeah, I was right. And now the Robber's Bridegroom, you may think it is the one story of its kind, but it actually isn't. There are quite a few stories about husbands or bridegrooms who have a tendency of pulling a reverse Black Widow. Actually, to think about it, Black Widow, the spider, the female, kills her husband. If we were going to gender bend the name, it would be a Black Widower. Because a widower is a man who lost his wife. So yeah, there are quite a few gentlemen in fairy tales who pull a Black Widower moment. There is, in fact, a few in here written by the Brothers Grimm. There is Bluebeard. Beard, if that name sounds familiar, it's a French fairy tale where the husband commits to some wife murder, as you do in fairy tales. Let me just find it again. Here we go. So yeah, and this is literally right next to the Robber's Bridegroom, but there's also the Fitcher's Bird, which is another story of. I don't drink, but I love beer battered fish and beer brats. Beer bratwurst. So yeah, beer battered fish. I like to drink. I try and drink in moderation. I have never gotten drunk though. I've just gotten, as I like to say, fishbowl headed, which basically is your head feels very swimmy and heavy, like it's full of water, and it's hard to hold it up. So I always refer to it as getting fishbowl head. People call it getting buzzed, whatever you call it. It's not pleasant, but yeah. So yeah, the Fitcher's Bird is another example of the male committing wife murder, as you do, But there actually is a story that has a wee bit of wife murder, but it actually turns out great in the end, and it's actually a sort of animal bridegroom story. It's actually really nice, and I discovered this one through Pinterest, through a specific pin about a Norse monster. Brought spoiled in beer with onions and peppers and then grilled so juicy. Oh, that's so good. Oliver, you're making me hungry. Positive wife murder? Well, not entirely. Like, it's called the Lindorm, or the Lindworm, which is a Norse monster that's usually in the form of a dragon or a snake, and Lind means snake, and then Orm means snake. Guess what it looks like? It usually looks like a giant snake. Either way, it's a serpentine monster, and sometimes it's just a dragon beast that needs to be slayed, but sometimes there are exceptions. There are exceptions that require a beautiful young maiden. So, yeah, not positive wife murder, but definitely wife murder. I mean, But hey, there was also husband murder. I literally read The Necklace of Princess Furimond. Animal bridegrooms. I wonder if they were the first furries. Usually the case is that they're cursed to take on that form. Sometimes it's natural for them to be like so. I think the very first furries, if you want to go, I think ancient Egypt would have that title as first, considering that many of their deities, their gods and goddesses, had animal heads. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know a lot, but I'm always learning, so. But yeah. Actually, you know what? That'll be the story I read tomorrow. Good point. So, I was thinking like this would be the last story for February, But you know what? It's my channel. I can do what I want, and I think I will end on a genuinely romantic fairy tale. I will look through my stories and I will try and find one that does not have wife murder or blood. Aesop's fables kind of count as furry. Not entirely, because the animals, though they do possess human-like qualities of going to court and stuff like that, they're not entirely anthropomorphic, because they are still animals. So, I don't know. Again, I think ancient Egypt was the first furry mythology. That's why I specified kinda. Each to their own, but I mean, yeah. So, yeah. Alright, last story. Last one, and I'll have to end the stream. But yeah, so I think I know what story I will read to you guys next. I will try and find something that's genuinely romantic that doesn't have wife murder, husband murder, and doesn't have as much blood as usual, which is quite a bit considering the stories I read on here. But I will try and end February on a genuinely loving and romantic note because everyone likes romance. But yeah. Oh my goodness. 10 listeners and this, oh my goodness. I think this is the most viewers I've had on one of these streams, which I don't know if I've ever said it on live stream, but like, thank you. Thank you for coming and enjoying these stories with me. It makes me happy that you guys like them and I enjoy reading them. So yeah. Dear love. I mean, maybe. Again, I will try and find one that is not quite as bloody, the keyword being tried, because you know fairy tales are sometimes dark and often bloody because back when they were made, back in the medieval times, they were made by adults for adults, so there were a lot of adult themes and adult elements in these stories. Thank you for doing what you love. Thank you for this channel. You're welcome. If my ex hadn't convinced me, I wouldn't have given it a shot, but I mean, I've remade this channel, and the more I think about it, and now that I've been going under my new name and I've revamped my channel and everything, I honestly do feel like this channel belongs to me now. Like, it's genuinely mine, and it makes me happy. And again, I'm glad you guys like what I do. I do the best with what I got, and clearly my weirdness is something you guys are into, and yes, indeed, we can't thank you enough. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. You're getting me all freaking flustered. I don't think I'm blushing. I mean, I look a little pink, but I'm not that pink, so... But still, I wouldn't be here without you guys. Your love and your support means a lot, and you guys have been with me through quite a bit. Because... Yeah. You were with me when I was Avery, and then you guys are still with me now that I'm Persephone, and now that I'm putting the past behind me, and despite the fact that I'm still trying to grow and I'm still learning new things, and I'm still, because at the end of the day, I want to give you guys the best that I can offer, even though I don't have all the bells and whistles that all the professionals have, because I feel like I owe that to you guys. You guys have been nothing but loving and supportive and kind to me, and it just genuinely does mean the world to me. Well, we're here to grow with you. Well, thank you. All right, one more song and then I'll end the live stream, I promise, because I could read another story. I did read a few Cinderella-like stories and a few Snow White stories on that one, so I could read another Robber Bridegroom-esque fairy tale with you guys. I mean, if you want to. Like a dragon after molding, you become more radiant. One more story! All right, Matt Newcomb wants one more story. What do you guys think? If I get 2 more yeses or agreements, then I will read another story to you guys. Should have drink all that wine and all that tea. So yeah, that's another yes from Not the Doctor. So what do you guys think? So Matt wants another story. Not the Doctor wants another story. What say you? We need another yes. Yes, loudly. Alrighty. Well, first things first, I have to hit the restroom real quick. I'm terribly sorry, but afterwards, I will read The Fitcher's Bird to you guys. I'll take another story. Story. All right. Well, hang on. I'll be right. I'll be right back. Grr. Yeah, should be fine. I'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. I'll be really quick. Alrighty, terribly sorry about that. Sorry, me too, BRB. So, how about that airline food? Fun fact. When I was a little kid, I actually thought they actually served you peanuts on an airline, and when we didn't get peanuts, I was kind of disappointed as a little kid. I found that because I saw it on a VHS tape of, I think it was Busy Town. I know it was Richard Scarry's Busy Town, and it was about growing up, like what you wanted to be when you grew up. And it mentioned like flight, and one of the kids wanting to be a travel agent like their mom, which I thought was really cute. Fun fact, and after this song, I promise I'll read The Fitcher's Bird to you guys. I did get peanuts a few times. Nice. I got basically sort of like trail mix kind of stuff, which I'm not complaining. But there. But there. Touch the while waiting for Wolfer. There we go. This is dark wine. I always try and dress to fit with my story, so I felt like dark colors, some floral leggings, and updo would work for this story. Back, yay, Wolfer! Welcome back. So, yeah. I thought they actually gave you peanuts on a plane, like in the video I saw when I was a kid, Richard Scary, which it was basically these little animal kids saying what they wanted to do when they grew up. And fun fact, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a baker when I grew up. I wanted to bake and stuff. I had a baking craze. And now that I'm older and the more that I've gotten to think about it, I genuinely want to be an author. I want to write stories for people. And I mean, I'm not making money off of this channel yet, but I mean, this is definitely fun, and it definitely helps me stretch my creative muscles because I'm a creative person. I got mini Ritz cheese crackers. I wanted to be an animator. Now I work at the Cape Symphony. Nice. Well, I'm very happy for you. And again, I can't believe I'm almost done with finishing my story. And ginger ale. Nice. I just got water. But yeah, I can't believe that I'm almost done with my first story, which as soon as I can, I will get it. As soon as I'm able to get it edited, I will get it published, and hopefully we can get it out. I can get it out to as many people as I can. But when I do get physical copies, I'm pretty sure they will be screaming. There will be dancing around. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm working really hard on the 8th and final story. And I'm excited. I'm super excited for getting back on that, which I'll try and do that when I finish this live stream. I wanted to be a medieval historian. Nice. Well, I mean, you semi got that with the conversations we have, and I do try and mention some history and lore in the upcoming ASMR video. And another ASMR video is on the way. I just need to finish sketching and inking and coloring in the character. But I think you'll like her. This upcoming character is going to be pretty sweet. Anyway, so you guys wanted another story, and because I am nice, despite well, no, despite still, because I am nice, I will read to you guys The Fitcher's Bird, which is another really short story. It's literally a few pages. Which, I mean, my first story in Tales by the Fire, that first story, it's literally one page. Anyway, so, what the heck? You're more than nice, you're lovely. Oh my gosh, hush. I'm decent. I'm decent. I try to be decent. Anyway. Goodness. I think I'm getting a little pink. You guys are making me blush. How dare! Anyway. The Fitcher's Bird. Gently plays Compopoden Contigua, number 166 on the hurdy-gurdy. Nice. Anyway. Fitcher's Bird. There once was a wizard who used to take the form of a poor man and went to houses and begged and caught pretty girls. Ha ha ha, she blushes. Ghost, I'll bite you. I will do it. Don't mistake my blush for weakness. I am capable of destruction. Oh my goodness. And caught pretty girls. I'm getting hell flashbacks from Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. My goodness. So am I. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to fight with you on live stream. My goodness. No one knew whither he carried them, for they were never seen more. One day he appeared before the door of a man who had 3 pretty daughters. He looked like a poor weak beggar and carried a basket on his back, as if he meant to collect charitable gifts in. He begged for a little food, and when the eldest daughter came out and was just reaching him a piece of bread, did he but touch her, and she was forced to jump into his basket. Thereupon he hurried away with long strides, and carried her away into a dark forest to his house, which stood in the midst of it. Everything in the house was magnificent. He gave her whatsoever she could possibly desire, and said, My darling, thou wilt certainly be happy with me, for thou hast everything thy heart can wish for. This lasted for a few days, and then he said, I must journey forth, and leave thee alone for a short time. There are the keys of the house. Thou mayest go everywhere and look at everything except into one room, which this little key here opens, and there I forbid thee to go, on pain of death. He likewise gave her an egg, and said, Preserve the egg carefully for me, and carry it continually about with me, for a great misfortune would arise from the loss of it. So she took the keys and the egg, and promised to obey him in everything. When he was gone, she went all round the house from the bottom to the top, and examined everything. The room shone with silver and gold, and she thought she had never seen such great splendor. Sorry, my nose is kind of stuffed up. Oh no, that's my dad. I thought that was my brother. Is this like the Hakeem story? I don't know what story that is, so I'm not entirely sure. I'm terribly sorry. Oh, yep, those are my folks, my parents. I hope their day gets better. Anyway, at length she came to the forbidden door. She wished to pass it by, but curiosity let her have no rest. She examined the key. It looked just like any other. She put it in the keyhole and turned it a little, and the door sprang open. Parents cameo? No, but I'm pretty sure you heard them through the mic. They're very tired. They're not having a good day, so I hope their day gets better. Because they're my parents, and I love them. So, yeah. Audible parents cameo. Anywho, so yeah, she puts it in the keyhole, she turns the key a little, and the door springs open. Smart move, girl. But what did she see when she went in? A great bloody basin stood in the middle of the room, and therein lay a human being, dead and hewn to pieces, and hard by was a block of wood, and a gleaming axe lay upon it. On it, she was so terribly alarmed that the egg, which she held in her hand, fell into the basin. She got it out and washed the blood off, but in vain. It appeared again in a moment. She washed and scrubbed, but she could not get it out. Best wishes for your parents. Well, thank you, Matt Newcomb. And hopefully my brother wakes up soon. My brother, the middle child, has a very bad habit of staying up late and playing video games. And so he sleeps half the day away. But despite how my family drives me up a wall, I still love them. There we go. Normal time length. He basically told her never to look into her room. He does, and he gets a wife, but she tells him not to look into a room. He does, and he gets picked up and tossed by a djinn into the desert. Huh. That is interesting. That's interesting. I may have to find that story next. Anyway, so she cannot get it out. Lady Macbeth, out, damn spot. So, yeah, I had to make the Shakespeare reference. I'm sorry. So, it was not long before the man came back from his journey, and the first things which he asked were the key and the egg. She gave them to him, but she trembled as she did so, and he saw at once by the red spots that she had been in the bloody chamber. "Since thou hast gone into the room against my will," said he, "thou shalt go back into it against thine own. Thy life is ended." He threw her down, dragged her thither by her hair, cut her head off on the block, and hewed her in pieces so that her blood ran on the ground. Then he threw her into the basin with the rest. "Now I will fetch myself the second," said the wizard, and again he went into the house in the shape of a poor man and begged. Who else would do the sound effects for your videos? Actually, for my ASMR videos, I try and do all my sound effects by myself. I try and do them, or I borrow some off of YouTube that are copyright free. So that's how I do it. You're silly emoji wolfer. Oh my goodness. So first sister's dead. Round 2. Let's go. Then the second daughter brought him a piece of bread. He caught her like the first by simply touching her and carried her away. She did not fare better than her sister. I was kind of expecting him to say, "Did you see my blood room? Don't tell any cops or anything." Oh my gosh, man, why? Because, yeah, if I see a bloody room full of dead bodies, I'm not gonna tell anyone. I think I would tell a lot of people. In fact, I'd probably be sick. You're really beautiful. Hush, Drusai Hashida. I am decent. There are a lot more people out there a lot prettier than me. So hush. I'm decent, nothing more. Well, you're great with improv when they do make noise. Yeah, it's mostly my brother, the one who stays up late to play video games, because he plays video games a lot and he talks to his friends really, really loudly. So if you ever wondered why I have so many haunted houses in my ASMRs that these monster girls are just living in, that's why. So, yeah. She did not. So, second sister gets captured and taken back to the wizard's house. She did not fare better than her sister. She allowed herself to be led away by her curiosity, opened the door of the bloody chamber and looked in, and had to atone for it with her life on the wizard's return. Comparing wizards, this wizard and the wizard Howl, I think I'd rather have Howl because he doesn't kill women. He's just a little bit eccentric and theatric, and I mean, I kind of like that. Wait, slow down. You've done haunted house ASMRs? I mean, not specifically haunted houses, but whenever in the current video I made with the newest monster girl, her manner is kind of haunted because my brother's speaking bled into my recording because he talks really loud. "Oh, fun! You found my blood room. Why don't you visit your sister?" Matt, I swear, if you know how to animate and you could totally make a series off of these fairy tales. Like, oh my gosh, I could totally see that animated. Oh my gosh. Maybe at least hide the door behind a wardrobe or something. I mean, he could have done that, but then it could be a test of faith and virtue. I don't know, because I don't technically get married all legal-like in a church, because, I mean, he's got a blood room, and so, I don't know, but, like, yeah, that would be one way to keep people from sneaking into your blood room. You would just have to move the wardrobe out of the way, wizard. Do you think? I don't know. Oh, jeez. Why hide a blood room? Blood rooms are chill. Yeah, they're chill if you're a vampire or you're into murder like this wizard is. Or if you're a robber bridegroom. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop. We're getting off subject, guys. Back to the story. Back to the story. Row, row, row. Oh, jeez, I swear. Okay, so, paid for it with her life. Then he went and brought the third sister, but she was clever and crafty. When he had given her the keys and the egg and had left her, she first put the egg away with great care, and then she examined the house, and at last went into the forbidden room. Alas, what did she behold? Both her sisters lay there in the basin, cruelly murdered and cut in pieces. But she began to gather their limbs together and put them in order: head, body, arms, and legs. And when nothing further was wanting, the limbs began to move and unite themselves together. Both the maidens opened their eyes and were once more alive. Then they rejoiced and kissed and caressed each other. So lots of kissing and hugging, because, I mean, oh my gosh, I thought you were dead. So, vampires. Yeah, well, hey, they're not the only ones who would like blood rooms. Like, I mean, this wizard guy seems to have a thing for blood. And I mean, again, Grimm fairy tales, they're naturally bloody. And to quote Adam Gidwitz, it is in the darkest zones that one finds the brightest beauty, the most luminous wisdom, and the most blood. Anyway, so yeah. So yeah, the sisters are put back together again, Humpty Dumpty style, and are alive once more. They're zombies now? Nope. Their body parts just put themselves together, and they're alive again as they were before they got chopped up by the wizard. You know, as bodies do in fairy tales. Because that's the thing with fairy tales. Anything can happen in fairy tales. Real life, though, you take dismembered pieces and you try putting them together, you're still just going to have a corpse. Just a put together corpse. They are Lego! I suppose that's one way to look at it. If you want to look at it like Legos. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. Swear. Okay, so so they rejoice, they embrace, and they kiss one another. On his arrival, the man at once demanded the keys and the egg, and as he perceived no trace of any blood on it, he said, "Thou hast stood the test. Thou shalt be my bride." Okay, so marriage test, like which of these girls will be my wife? Okay, that's I mean, I would probably think of a less threatening challenge for that. Do you have a thing for blood? No, I don't like blood. I'm the kind of person. If you had strings, they'd be puppets. Yeah, those still, they're corpse. That's not the kind of pleasant. My blind. Oh my god. Sheesh, what is this guy? Ice Cream from Adventure Time? No, he's just a wizard. My blood room is now our blood room. Be my wife now. Matt, if you can animate, like, make an animatic of this, I would watch it in a heartbeat. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So yeah, no, I don't have a thing for blood. Drusai Hashida. Anyway, so yeah, marriage test. Wonderful. He now had no. Oh, hi, Cosmic. Cat came in to use the litter box, as cats do. Put on a puppet show for the cops. That's one way to do it. Or in this case, it's in a medieval setting. It's like, put on a puppet show for the paladins. Oh my gosh, that was dark humor. Like, wow. When I finish the life stories of Krampus, maybe I'll do Wizards of Bloodroom. Oh my gosh. Yes, do it. I believe in you. Anyway, okay. Okay, so he now had no longer any power over her, and was forced to do whatsoever she desired. Oh, very well, said she. Thou shalt first take a basket of gold to my father and mother, and carry it thyself on thy back. In the meantime, I will prepare for the wedding. Then she ran to her sisters, whom she had hidden in a little chamber, and said, The moment has come when I can save you. The wretch shall himself carry you home again, but as soon as you are at home, send help to me. She put both of them in a basket and covered them quite over with gold, so that nothing of them was to be seen. Then she called in the wizard and said to him, Now carry the basket away, but I shall look through my little window and watch to see if thou stoppest on the way, or to stand or to rest. The wizard raised the basket on his back and went away with it, but it weighed him down so heavily that the perspiration streamed from his face. Then he sat down and wanted to rest a while, but immediately one of the girls in the basket cried, I am looking through my little window, and I see thou art resting. Wilt thou go at once? He thought it was his bride who was calling that to him, and got up on his legs again. I can actually imagine that. The Shire Reeve and posse committed to us watching in horror. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't watch in horror? Like, seeing literal, actual corpses. Like, that is so creepy and yay. It's like, it's weird. That creeps me out, but I've seen The Crow, and that's pretty, yeah, me. Oh my gosh, Ghost. I swear, calm down. Must you be such an edgelord? My goodness gracious. I swear, Vlad Dracula. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but at the same time, I feel like he would have a sense of decorum. This guy is a count, for crying out loud. Terribly sorry. Alrighty, so he hears the voice from the basket. He thinks it's his wife, and so now he's got to get up again. Once more he was going to sit down, but instantly she cried, I am looking through my little window, and I see thou art resting. Wilt thou go on directly? Whenever he stood still, she cried this, and then he was forced to go on onwards, until at last, groaning and out of breath, he took the basket with the gold and the two maidens into their parents' house. At home, however, the bride prepared the marriage feast and sent invitations to the friends of the wizard. Then she took a skull with grinning teeth, put some ornaments on it and a wreath of flowers, and carried it upstairs to the garret window. What? I've seen done pretty dark. Hey. Oh my goodness. Sultan Mehmed II, Grand Inquisitor Torquemada. I can't stop thinking about the wizard casually talking about his blood room in a deadpan Garfield-like voice. Don't bring Garfield into this. I grew up watching Garfield. No, don't do that. No, please. He'd probably be kind of theatric about it. I don't know. Like, I'm reading this, and like the fact that he's a wizard and he catches pretty girls, like I'm just like, so this is a darker version of Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. Like, if he actually did go eating the hearts of young women, like it's described in the book Howl's Moving Castle, which I also own that trilogy too. Oh my goodness. I think one of the cats scampered by my bedroom door. I'm pretty sure that was Cosmic. Anyway. So, yeah, the youngest sister takes a skull, grinning teeth, puts some ornaments on it, and a wreath of flowers, and decorates it, and let it look out from thence. When all was ready, she got into a barrel of honey, and then cut the feather bed open and rolled herself in it, until she looked like a wondrous bird, and no one could recognize her. Then she went out of the house, and on her way she met some of the wedding guests, who asked, "Oh, Fitcher's bird, how comest thou here?" "I come from Fitcher's house quite near." "And what may the young bride be doing?" "From cellar to garret she'll sweep all clean, and now from the window she's peeping, I ween." Which I think she guessed. A flower-covered skull, very Day of the Dead. Indeed. And at last she met the bridegroom, who was coming slowly back. He, like the others, asked, "Oh, Fitcher's bird, how comest thou here?" "I come from Fitcher's house quite near." "And what may the young bride be doing?" From cellar to garret she's swept all clean, and now from the window she's peeping, I ween. The bridegroom looked up and saw the decked-out skull, thought it was his bride, and nodded to her, greeting her kindly. But when he and his guests had all gone into the house, the brothers and kinsmen of the bride, who had been sent to rescue her, arrived. They locked all the doors of the house, that no one might escape, set fire to it, and the wizard and all his crew had to burn. So there we go, another Robber Bridegroom-esque story with a happy ending. We don't have oil, or we don't have him go to justice. We don't have the boiling oil with poisonous snakes. Nope, just lock him in the house and set the home on fire, like the way a lot of people would if they saw a bug in their house. So yeah, happy ending for everyone except the wizard and his friends. His friends who are probably other wizards and other schemers who have a tendency for some black widower tendencies. I mean, as you do. So yeah, that was 2 stories in one video. It's been a long time since I've done that, not gonna lie. Kind of missed it, but I mean, if you guys want more stories, who am I to stop you? Man, blood room is getting kind of warm. I smell smoke. Yes. that one friend of the wizards, it's like, man, blood room's getting kind of warm. I smell smoke. Revenge is a dish best served broiled. I mean, as opposed to being best served cold. Which, technically speaking, if you think about it, if revenge is a dish best served cold, then revenge is ice cream. I don't know. Revenge flavored ice cream. I wonder what revenge would taste like. So yeah, revenge is a best served broiled or roasted. Because I mean, they're probably roasting. Ooh, imagine if they're all in the blood room and all that blood on all ground from all the wizard's freaking murdering. Then the room's probably boiling blood. It's very gruesome if you think about it. What they used to be. I think revenge would be a meat dish. Meat. While it is tempting, I don't think I'll ever partake of revenge. It's not for me. Oh, hi, October. Hi. Hi. You guys want a cat cameo? Go here. Voila! October cameo. Aged blood pudding? I've never had blood pudding before. But ta-da! October cameo. Behind every great storyteller is one of her cats. Oh. Whoa! Well, there was an October cameo, so you can check it off your bingo cards. Though I don't have a bingo card for this channel. Hi. Yep. Oh my gosh, but yeah. There we go. We got an October cameo and we got 2 stories. We got 2 stories in one. Could you not? Could you not wave your tail in my face? My goodness. Anyway. So, yeah. Tail whack! Yeah, she also did the tail thing. We look after a family of feral cats. Aw, nice. That is very nice. I have 4 cats. So yeah, that was the Fitcher's Bird and the Robber Bridegroom. Bitter. I know because I've tasted it before. So revenge is salty. Like you, he's a lot like. So yeah. That was the Robber's Bridegroom and the Fitcher's Bird as a bonus story. And yeah, I think that's where we're going. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, something is going on in the hallway. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty crazy. My goodness. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. So, I'm gonna Draw this wizard guy, this wizard in his blood room. Do it. So, a little suggestion though. His disguise is an old man. Does it go well with Frank's Red Hot or A1 sauce? I'd probably say A1 sauce. Because A1 sauce is good. But anyway, Matt, create a suggestion. The wizard's disguise is that of an old man. And he takes off the disguise. We don't get an actual description of what he looks like, but I'm pretty sure underneath that disguise, he is tall and very handsome and easy on the eyes. And sort of like a young man with, the murder tendencies. Because, that bride test. Oh my goodness. Doesn't matter what sauce or season, Wolfie, it still tastes the same. Mercy is all we have to give. Virtual insanity seem to be governed by this love we have for useless twisting. For now there is no sound, but we all live underground. Oh, I'm just gonna dress him as a stupid Party City Halloween costume wizard. No, come on, be creative, please. Please, I beg of you. Please. Oh, please, please, please. Happiness, oh yeah, I know. So yeah, I think that just about wraps up this live stream, because you guys got one story and a bonus story, and yeah. Again, thank you so much for watching. Your subscriptions, your comments, your likes, all of it. Just overall, your love and support really does mean the world to me. I'm actually old enough to remember when the video for that song was on TV. I saw the video, and I still don't know what to make of the music video, which is why I kind of like listening to the lyrics more, like a lyric video more. It's a very odd music video, but then again, some music videos are odd like that. It's very interesting, though. I like the song. Anyway, but yeah. So, yeah, there are more stories like the Robber Bridegroom. There's Bluebeard. I might save that for another ASMR video, but I will try and find a genuinely romantic story to read to end Valentine's Day on. More pleasant, less bloody note. So, yeah. I will try and find a genuinely romantic story to read for you guys. And yeah, that just about sums it up. So yeah, thank you so much for your love, your comments, and your support. It just genuinely means the world to me, and I'm glad that you guys like my work and that I'm doing something right. I'll always support you. 3 cheers for the book dragon. Persephone Crestowitz to the book dragon. Oh my gosh. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. 3 cheers for the book dragon. Whee!